Hey everyone, welcome to my marvelous miniverse. This is my very first video. I put it off way too long. It's time to get it out there. So in this video, I'm going to show how I painted this little guy, and he's a Nimblewright that we needed for our campaign, and he's also really the first detailed miniature that I painted. I painted a couple of other things in the past, but I wanted to put this video out there so that I could get some critiques and some criticisms and some tips and techniques on how I could do better. So please leave some comments down there and let me know what I can do. Let me know what you think. And since it's my first video, I'd be okay if you gave me some tips and tricks on filmography too. So without any further ado, let's get at it. My first usage of green stuff so far. This is a twig blight model that I'm modifying to become a Nimblewright in our game. I think I did pretty good. I might have some fingerprint marks in there, but I guess we'll see when we paint it. The twig blight that I downloaded off Thingiverse, and I blew it up a little bit before I printed it. And then I cut all the little twigs off of it. And then I made this cape or cloak so that we can use it in our game as a Nimblewright. It's not perfect, but it's the best I could find. And I couldn't really find a Nimblewright or a Warforged that really looked right. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and start blacking out with this troll claws from Warpainter. I'm going to put a base coat on all the wood parts. So I put a little bit of that on my wet palette. Alright, little tiny bit of water, get my brush going. Maybe a little bit more water to make sure it gets on, gets everywhere. Alright. Oh, I see too much water. Alright, while we time travel through me blocking out most of the skin on this model, I wanted to talk about it a little bit and give credit where it's due. The remix that I pulled off of Thingiverse was done by PyroCAD, and it was a remix of the original modeling done by Miguel Zavala. If you've looked at any modeling at all, at least for D&D minis, he's very prolific. He's all over the place. He's got YouTube videos, Patreon. He's on Reddit. Excellent modeler. Got a huge portfolio. So I took PyroCAD's edit and I blew it up a little bit so that it would be actually medium-sized creature, and then I trimmed it down. I trimmed off a lot of had a bunch of twigs sticking out of it, and I trimmed the fingers down and the toes down and that. And then the primer I used was actually an Army Painter primer, just their regular black primer. See if I can get just down inside there. Just paint the face without getting the inside of the hood, because if I get the inside of the hood, I have to paint it black again. I don't want to do so much that I lose detail on the face. That's pretty good. I get the hood a little bit. I'll come in there with the finer tip detail brush. Very nice, very nice. Got some personality now, I think. It's coming to life. I'm going to get the black out, which is just this stuff, permanent black from, I'm going to get this Hobby Lobby, I think. I have no idea how I'm going to highlight this cloak, but we'll get there. We'll get to it. I'll power through, make some mistakes, and learn a little bit. I was going to file off the edge of this thing at the bottom, this green stuff that I made the cape out of, but I think it looks good, kind of raggedy. I missed the foot over here with the troll claws brown. I'll come back after that. gets that black out of there. Come back to the troll claws. Just going over what I missed earlier and anything that I overpainted when I was painting the cloak. Get everything back to that wood color. Just touching up. Not that big of a deal. I'm going to try edge highlighting too, which at this point in the game is probably going to be a futile effort, but we'll do it anyway. Okay, let me let that dry for a minute. Alright, so now that that's nice and dry, it looks pretty good right now. Not too bad. I'm going to use this Agrax Earthshade. I guess everybody uses it. It's supposed to be amazing. Okay, that wash still isn't quite dry yet, but I'm tired of waiting, so I'm going to move on to the cloak. And I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this alien purple and mix it with that black, make a really dark purple. I struggled with this for way too long. I started with a really dark purple and slowly mixed it a little bit lighter and a little bit lighter until I got around to just using the alien purple with just a little bit of water that was a little thin. I took way too long, took way too much time. But, you know, lessons learned. Won't make that mistake again. And I think it turned out pretty good in the end. Now I'm going to go back and look at the body and do a little more shading on that wood color. What I'm going to do, I think I need to put an even thinner coat of darker wash on there. Let's try that. Let's do that. Go with dark tone wash from Army Painter. I'm going to stay with this small brush. And I'm going to try to just get it in the cracks on that side. I got nothing. That's not good. There we go. That's pretty much what I was trying to do right there. So I wanted that earth shade to put some darker brown in there without painting brown. I think I'm just about nailing what I'm going for. Yeah, that's looking good, dude. Looking good. Almost just what I wanted. It's a little heavy. I'm going to try to water it down a little bit more. Damn, that's looking good. Very tree-like. Make sure you get the back of the legs. You're going to notice. Alright, yeah, that was pretty good. Hang on. Up in here, could probably use a little bit more. Alright, now for the face. I think I'm just going to do the eyes. Looks pretty good. Man, you can really tell that face is crooked. It just printed crooked. I don't know what to do about it. Maybe a little darker wash on that side. Not too bad, I guess. Yeah, nice. Looking good. Just going through here with the Army Painter dark tone wash and delighting the cloak, getting all those wrinkles and everything. My lighting and focus isn't that good, so you really can't see the purple in there that I'm toning down, but it looks really good. In the end, there's a pretty good shot at the end of how that purple turned out. Then I came back around to the body and finished up with some of that dark tone, filling in some of the gaps and whatnot, making sure everything was delighted as much as I could. I'm going to come back to purple. Wet palette, see, still wet. And not a whole lot, but I'm going to go over his head again. There we go. Spread that around. I think what I really want to do is come just the edge of that. Just hit the edge of that with the purple. I'm going to wash it again. Just going back over the cloak again with the purple, trying to get some highlights, let them stand out a little better here and there. And again, I spent way too long doing this. I just kept going back and forth between the purple and the black wash to try to bring those highlights out more and show a little more detail in the cape. But again, it didn't come through on the camera, so we're going to go ahead and fast forward through all this. A dry brush though, so I don't want to use the fancy brushes. I'm going to use this stuff from the dollar store. Yeah, there you go. A little bit. Just gonna go over the whole thing, over the body there, and highlight on all the little bumps from the wood or the bark or whatever. There's a couple spots that came out looking kind of muddy. I think I got a little heavy-handed in there, but we'll go ahead and fix those up here in just a minute. Alright, other than his leg looking a little muddy, that's very tree-like. It wood-like? I like that. This is other leg's a little muddy too. So let's go back to some Agrax Earthshade. I'll also go back to the smaller brush, and we'll just try to put those low lights back in there before it's dry, which is a stupid idea. And I'm gonna mix some white with some purple to try to do some highlights on the cloak. I don't think it's gonna work out very well. Again, going back to the cloak, it took me way too long. I worked on it forever. But you can see the purple start to show up. I got some edge highlighting in, and I finally started to get it to look pretty good. Coming back to the body here, I just kind of went back and forth between that beige color to put the highlights back in, and then the dark tone wash to get all the little crevices, and just trying to get all those little bumps to pop out a little more. And it worked pretty good. I think it added a lot of depth and dimension to it. I think I'm going to keep that technique handy, and that'll just about finish it up. I think the only other thing I did was add some Citadel Technical Sterling mud to the base, just so it wasn't just a flat black base. And then I kind of hid the feet a little bit where they didn't look great. We'll see that here in just a second. I got our Nimblewright all painted up. I think it looks okay. Not great. The hands didn't come out great, neither did the feet. So I think that's actually from the printing. But the feet, I just covered them in mud, because that's a cop out. But other than that, I think it'll look alright sitting on a table. So after a coat of satin varnish, here's a little flyby action shot. He is about to give these bullywugs what for. I think he fits in pretty well. Those bullywugs and that crab over there are the only other things I painted before I painted the Nimblewright. There he is. I think it looks okay. So there's my first real painting experience on a detailed mini, my little Nimblewright. And I know some of you are probably thinking Nimblewrights are supposed to be exquisitely crafted masterpieces and all that. Well, in our game, this little guy was supposed to be a Nimblewright made by a Nimblewright out of scraps. I don't know the full story. I'm not the DM. I'm just a player in that game. But I can tell you this guy fit the bill really well. The other players liked it, and it was an accurate representation in the mini of what's supposed to be happening in the game, and that brought me a lot of satisfaction. So in the end, this really helped to increase our experience in the game, and that is what matters. And so we can call that a successful craft, and a successful craft means a successful craft beer. This is Bonfim Wheat Ale by Broadway Brewery, a local place. It's pretty good. They use honey in that. It's pretty good. So anyway, if you liked what you saw, please give me a thumbs up, and I will be doing more mini painting. Hopefully my techniques will be getting better and faster in the future. So if you want to see that, go ahead and subscribe. I'll also be doing a lot of crafting. So subscribe, hit the bell, and until next time, you guys keep enhancing your game experience.